Okay, Assalamu alaikum. So we started Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. डिटेल समरी, इससे पहले करैक्टर हिस्ट्री है वो कंप्लीट की थी, जो कि एक पार्ट में थी, और जो समरी है वो दो पार्ट में है, क्योंकि बुक जो है वो दो पार्ट में डिवाइड है। फर्स्ट पार्ट कल डिस्कस कर लिया था, आज सेकंड पार्ट जो है वो डिस्कस करेंगे। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। Book 2 begins with the arrival of Henry's older brother, Captain Frederick Tilney. Isabella quickly catches the eyes of the captain and, dismayed by the discovery of James' modest income, began to flirt with Frederick. Eleanor invites Catherine to visit the Tilney home in Northanger Abbey. The invitation is seconded by Eleanor's father, General Tilney. Catherine eagerly accepts the invitation, delighted at the prospect of visiting a real abbey and at seeing more of Henry. Before Catherine leaves, Isabella tells her that John is planning to propose to Catherine. Catherine tells Isabella to write him and tell him with her apology that he is mistaken. Frederick appears and flirts with Isabella, who returns his attentions. Dismayed by his behavior, Catherine asks Henry to convince Frederick to leave Isabella alone. Henry refuses, knowing that Isabella is at least as guilty as the captain, but he tells Catherine that Frederick will probably leave Bath with his regiment soon anyway. Catherine leaves with the Tilney for Northanger Abbey. On the way, Catherine tells Henry how she imagines the abbey to resemble the haunted ruins of the Gothic novels she loves. Henry, amused, responds by giving a hypothetical account of her first night at Abbey, complete with mysterious chests, violent storms, and secret passages. Northanger Abbey turns out to be quite dull, having been fixed up by General Tilney. Due to her overactive imagination, Catherine entertains all sorts of frightening ideas about the place, each of which is thwarted. For instance, a strange bureau in Catherine's room turns out to contain nothing more mysterious than receipts. Catherine becomes intrigued by the death of Eleanor and Henry's mother years earlier. Her mind full of Gothic plots, Catherine suspects that General Tilney of murdering his wife. Catherine sneaks into the mother's old chamber and discovers nothing. She is caught by Henry, who guesses her thoughts and scolds her. Mortified and ashamed, Catherine quickly resumes her good behavior. Catherine receives a letter from her brother telling her that his engagement to Isabella has been called off. Catherine thinks that Frederick forced himself between them, but Henry convinces her that it was as much Isabella's fault as Frederick's. Catherine visits Henry's house at Woodstone. The general drops hint about Catherine marrying Henry. Catherine gets another letter, this time from Isabella, telling her that Frederick has left her and asking Catherine to apologize to James for her. Angry at being manipulated, Catherine wishes she had never known Isabella. The general leaves on a business trip and Henry goes back to Woodstone for several days. The general then returns unexpectedly and tells Eleanor to send Catherine away the next morning. Though she is very embarrassed, Eleanor has no choice but to send Catherine to her home in Fullerton. Catherine's family is irritated by the journal's rudeness but is glad to have her back. Catherine mopes around despondent until suddenly Henry arrives in Fullerton and proposes to her. Henry explains that his father's behavior was due to John Thorpe. In Bath, when John thought Catherine loved him, he had told General Tilney that Catherine was from a very wealthy family. When the general ran into John much later after Isabella had told John about Catherine, true feelings, John had angrily told the general that the Morlands were almost poor. Mortified, the general had sent Catherine away, furious that his hopes for John to make a wealthy match were to be frustrated. Henry and Catherine decide to wait until the general gives his consent to their marriage. Within a few months, Eleanor marries a wealthy and important man, which puts the general in a good mood. Once he is told of the true nature of the Morlands' financial situation, which is moderate, he gives his consent and the novel ends with the marriage of Henry and Catherine. ओके ये नावल जो है ये भी कंप्लीट हो गया, नॉर्थएंगर एबे। इसके साथ ही 5 नावल जो हैं जेन ऑस्टन के, जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, पूरे डिटेल के साथ कवर कर लिए हैं। अल्लाह हाफिज़, स्टे ट्यून फॉर मोर वीडियोज़।